You've been trying all those fancy meditating apps, and they must not be a-working since you're here. Well, this ain't your mama's meditation, bless her heart. This will be the easiest meditating you've ever done. All you gotta do is sit down and shut the hell up. Just sit there and zip it. They say the calmest people are the ones who've seen hell up close and told the devil to kiss their grits. My name is Earl J. Hickory. 98 summers of seeing through BS packed into one ornery old coop. And for the next 12 minutes, I'm fixing to be a reluctant guide to finding some damn peace. Most of them meditating people will tell you it's all sunshines and butterflies. Well, I'm here to tell you that's horseshit, slicker than a hound dog's tongue. Real meditating is like birthing a calf backward in July heat. Messier than a pig pen after a rainstorm. Uncomfortable as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, worth every second of the struggle. You ready? 'Cause I ain't repeating myself, you hear? Well, look who finally decided to sit there behind still, bless your heart. Been chasing peace like a chicken with its head cut off, ain't ya? Tried every meditating app, sound bowl, energy cleanse, and crystal ritual this side of Mason-Dixon. And yet, here you are. Still anxious, still fidgety, still wound tighter than a tick on a hound dog's ass in the middle of July. So today, sugar, we're doing it my way. And my way ain't got room for your fancy notions. Sit with your behind down like you mean it. Close your eyes tighter than a new jar of molasses. And for the love of sweet tea and sanity, stop squirming like you got fire ants in your drawers. But this ain't how meditating's supposed to feel. Bless your heart, child. That's the problem with feeling. You believe every damn one of them like they're gospel truth at a Baptist revival. Now feel your butt in that chair. That's gravity reminding you you're still here, whether you like it or not, just like a bad penny that keeps turning up. Let your spine sit up like you got some damn pride, not slumped like a possum playing dead in the middle of a highway after meeting a semi. Now listen here, honey child. That tingling in your legs, that burning in your lower back, that itch you just appeared out of nowhere on your elbow like a surprise from your mother-in-law, they all got one thing in common. They're trying to distract you from your meditating business. This ain't about being comfortable as a dog on a front porch. This is about staying put when everything you want wants to fidget like a June bug on a hot skillet. Now put your shoulders down, unclench them from your ears where you've been carrying them all day, like you owe them money. Jaws soft, stop grinding your teeth like you're trying to make diamonds in there for your cousin's wedding. Eyes closed. The world ain't going nowhere. While you take a break from staring at it, ain't nobody here for your breath whistle or your opinions. That ain't worth a hill of beans anyhow. Now breathe like you mean it. Through your nose, out through your mouth. Steady, slow, like you ain't got nowhere to be and finally accepted it. And don't get cocky now. This is meditating, not mating season at the county fair. Try not to seduce the universe with your bullshit intentions. The universe has heard it all before, sugar. Alright. Here comes the parade of nonsense, y'all. Grocery list, your ex that show you ain't finished. That fight you never won like a coon dog that lost its scent. Bills you forgot to pay, that embarrassing thing you did in 3rd grade that still makes you cringe harder than a cat in a bathtub full of ice water. Let it all float by like Baptist gossip after a Sunday service when the preacher's wife wore them shorts. You know how to fish? Of course you don't. A city slicker like you probably thinks bass is something on a fancy stereo, and catfish is something you do on them dating apps. But if you did know how to fish, you'd know you don't chase after every ripple in the water. You sit, you wait, you observe, still as a cypress stump in a swamp. That's your mind right now, a pond full of fish jumping. Don't go diving in after every thought that splashes like it's the last fried chicken in the church picnic. You don't need to grab it. You don't need to fix it. You don't need to stop chasing after every stray thought like a raccoon with ADHD in a trash factory behind the Piggly Wiggly. You're not your thoughts. You're just a poor soul stuck listening to them like a hostage in a bad poetry reading by your second cousin who thinks they're the next Faulkner. Damn fool trying to find peace while TikTok's still open in his mind. Just breathe. You're getting twitchy now, huh? Squirming like a worm on a hot sidewalk. Legs are moving, nose an inching. Brain shouting about emergency pay urges, imaginary deadlines, a TV show, a movie, hell, maybe even a craving for a peach cobbler with a scoop of bluebell vanilla melting on top. All you gotta do is nothing. That's the job. Just sit there, shut the hell up, and not do a damn thing for a few minutes. Can you do that for me? Easier said than done though, ain't it right, sweet pea? But that's harder than pushing a rope uphill in the middle of August, ain't it? Let me tell you something I learned in my 98 years of living and 40 years of whittling wood on here porch while watching the fireflies come out. I don't care if your nose itches like fire ants or having a square dance on it, or if a tick's nibbling on your ball sack like it's at an all-you-can-eat buffet at Golden Corral. You just sit there, sit still, and be quiet. You ever seen a heroine fishing? That bird can stand in the muddy water for hours, not moving a single feather. Meanwhile, you can't sit still for 2 minutes without acting like you got ants in your britches and a lightning bug up your behind. You sit still. You breathe. You survive. That's the whole damn assignment, sugar. Don't make me repeat myself or I'll get the switch from that peach tree out back. You keep waiting for me to tell you to do something fancy, don't you? Bless your heart. I ain't asking. That is the job. Sit still, shut up, and listen to what I'm telling you before I lose my little bit of patience I got left and go back to drinking my sweet tea in peace. Now listen here. Underneath all that noise, there's a gap between the thought and the one you noticed. That space, that's home. That's where peace lives, quiet, unbothered, like a catfish at the bottom of a still pond. You all city folks call it present moment awareness. I call it shutting the hell up long enough to hear yourself think. You don't need to chant or float, call a dolphin spirit guide with a credit card number. You don't need to practice mindfulness or transcendental meditating or whatever them fancy retreat people call it. Just sit your ass down and simply be. Your mind's like a jar of muddy water. Stop shaking it and eventually the mud settles. Then you can see clear into the bottom. Now, for the next 30 seconds, don't think. And when that don't work, think about how damn hard it is not to think. Just sit and be quiet. Back in my day, we had silence on the belt. That's it. None of this guided meditating horse shit. You think you're too complicated for this. But I have trauma and ADHD and rising moon and Capricorn and gluten sensitivity and Mercury's in retrograde messing with my chakras. Bless your heart. You're not special, you're human. Gloriously flawed, beautifully broken, and still worthy of peace despite being a pain in my ass. Your mind's busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest, but even you can sit still for a few minutes. Let's try this again, sugar. Now shut up and breathe before I change my mind about this whole operation. Oh, wow, you're still here. You got more grit than I gave you credit for. You didn't transcend, though, did you? You didn't meet your spirit animal. You didn't speak to your dead aunt through a candle or turn into a cosmic butterfly. But you sat still. You listened. You didn't run away screaming. That's more than most folks do all year. Hell, that's more than most folks do their entire whole damn life. Now, let's try this one more time. Next 30 seconds. Just listen, not to me, to everything else. See? That's what you've been running from. That quiet. That's what scares you more than anything. Listen, I'm going to tell you something I don't tell most folks. I spent 26 years of my life running from thoughts, from feelings, from silence, always busy, always doing, never just being. Took me losing everything, the farm, the marriage, my health, to finally sit my stubborn ass down and face myself. And you know what I found? All that stuff I was running from, it was just smoke and mirrors. Wasn't half as scary as I thought. You know what's worse than sitting with your troubles? Carrying around for decades like I did. Like some kind of heavy feed sack that just gets heavier. Not that you asked me about my life story. Just figured you should know that this ain't just some fancy pants meditating nonsense I'm spouting. This is survival. Now let me tell you something they don't say in them fancy Zen-ditating retreats. Peace ain't pretty. It ain't all white robes and enlightenment. Sometimes just sitting in your own mess and not running away. You think Buddha never had an itch? You think Jesus never had a wandering mind? The difference is they sat their asses down and they did the work day after day without complaining on Instagram or buying a $200 meditating cushion made out of some endangered panda fur. People nowadays want inner peace without an inner work, like wanting to harvest corn without planting the seeds or pulling the weeds. All that anxiety you carry is just thoughts wearing a fancy hat. All that depression, just thoughts in a trench coat. The second you see them for what they are, just passing weather, that's when you're free. Alright, that's about 12 minutes you didn't waste on scrolling, snacking, and sabotaging yourself. You sat your sweet self down, you did the work despite my less than gentle approach. Bless your heart, that took guts, considering how many times your mind tried to run off like a dog chasing a squirrel through a fireworks factory. Now go on. Don't mess up the silence you just found by overthinking it. But know this, Grandpa's watching. And I got more where that came from, so you best come back tomorrow. Oh, and remember, peace ain't what you find, it's what's left when you stop looking. Before I let you go, stick around after we're done here. You might hear me say something I ain't supposed to say. Now listen here. If this meditating helped your anxious behind even a little bit, hit that like button harder than a screen door in a tornado. Subscribe faster than a raccoon grabbing that last biscuit. And share this with them friends of yours who need some sitting down and shutting up of their own. What? You think I do this meditating stuff in my house? I got bills to pay the same as you. This guided meditating don't put sweet tea on the table. Also, check out my Patreon. Links in the description. Even a few dollars helps keep the porch lights on, and the more support I get, the more of these ornery meditating sessions I can make. Leave a comment if your wound up self finally relaxed. Might just read it next time if it ain't too stupid. Now go be peaceful or whatever, but come back soon. Subscribing means you won't miss the next time old Grandpa got something to say about your anxiety-ridden modern life. You think they bought all that inner peace nonsense? Hell, I ain't that calm. I just got arthritis so bad I can't move fast enough to show how angry I am. Wonder if them city folks will send me money for telling them to shut up. Easiest work I've ever done. Still better than them yoga people in their fancy stretch pants. Oh, this thing's still on? Shit.